Councilman Song on video, Councilman Wu on video, Councilman Ursa, O, and Sabari are not on video, but they're on audio, and I believe they also can see us, but we can't see them. Okay, with that, we always start our meetings with the flag salute, so I'll do so. Pledge allegiance to the flag,
Tradition to the flag,
the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I want to take this opportunity for a moment of silence. In solemn tribute, we offer this moment of silence to remember in our thoughts and prayers 5 of our residents who passed away from COVID-19 related complications. We also remember our Englewood Cliffs resident, Mark Byron, who passed away last month. And as we take that moment of silence, let's do so now. Thank you. I could give you a bit of an update on what's been a very long 3 months for everyone in the United States and in our town. We have right now 54 active cases of COVID-19. I am very proud, and I continue to be very proud of our community and how our community handled these past 3 very adverse months. I am glad that we were able to protect health, safety, and privacy without any overreaching by your local government. We try to stay out of your way and keep your lives as normal as possible. As society and the economy reopen, we will continue to be vigilant. We are socially distanced here in this room right now. And it's always been my view that we can protect lives and livelihoods at the same time. So here in Englewood Cliffs, I believe we are succeeding, and I thank you all, residents and employees, for cooperating and doing that together. Our police department has been exceptional during this period as well. And last month, I also mentioned that we are very fortunate and blessed to have a caring community that has answered the call to help each other without any fanfare or publicity. They have all stepped up to take care of our community, and these are our volunteers. I will repeat my offer of special thanks to the following people in case you missed it last month. Members of the Chinese American community here in Englewood Cliffs, led by Angela Chang and Fan Huang and William Wu. They donated personally and delivered thousands of face masks to any resident requesting one or more in multiple times to charitable and religious organizations in the area that have reached out to me requesting face masks. Over 40 Chinese American families in our community contributed to that effort. So I thank you all. I applaud you for your sense of community. Next, I thank our grocery shoppers. These are people who I asked if they would help senior citizens to get groceries, to keep our seniors safe. And that request was answered overwhelmingly, and the following people helped out: Claude Hubbard, Elias Fontakidis, Anish Bafna, Gerald Misk, Sweta Jane, Pinal Shah, Jennifer McDermott, Peter Tang, and my children. Also offer special thanks. I don't know if you heard it last meeting, but I'll repeat it. We had a freshman resident high school student, Sujan Munver, who produced 75 3D printed face shields for our Department of Public Works and Police Department. Sujan presented the face shields outside the police department to Chief Hankelman, Superintendent of DPW Neville, and me. So yes, Englewood Cliffs did care, and Englewood Cliffs continues to care. Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please read into the record the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting was given to the folks that I would request. Date and time is given after required by the Open Public Meetings Act. This notice is on file with the municipal clerk and posted on the bulletin board. Minutes of this meeting will be made available by the public upon the completion of typing.
Thank you. Also, next on our agenda is what's referred to as the Borough Charity Project. And this is a project where we collect non-perishable food items for the Office of Concern Food Pantry at St. Cecilia's Church in Englewood. We've been doing that for about 2 years now at every regular meeting. I realize everyone's home, but you can still drop off food items here in the vestibule of the police department or directly at the Office of Concern. They also accept monetary donations if you go onto their website. So the thought behind this is to do something good at every meeting, even if we're not getting along here as a governing body and arguing over things, that at least we'll leave here tonight and every night that we're here having done something good for somebody else. Next on the agenda are the department head reports for May 2020. The council members should have all received those. We don't have any representatives of a department head other than the borough administrator here tonight. So if you have any questions, you could ask right now, or you could just ask and we'll relay your questions. Does anybody have any questions? Okay, thank you for reviewing those. On our correspondence list, we had the Planning Board Annual Review 2019, and we also received a letter from the Kim Law Firm. Next on the agenda are, I should also mention the Kim Law Firm. That was a request on behalf of a restaurant. It seemed like a little confusing. It was on behalf of one restaurant, but it seemed to be talking about or referring to several restaurants in the area about changing their outdoor dining status and ability. There's some significant issues with doing that in some cases because of the parking situation in town. Next on the agenda are the closed session minutes.
Mayor, point of order on the closed session minutes.
Yes.
Can I just request of the mayor and council that we have some kind of timeline for the closed session from previous to be completed within a certain time frame? It's very difficult to go back almost 18 months on some of these minutes. They go back to January 10 of last year, and I think it affects the accuracy of the minutes and our ability to review them. I know we've never had a time cap on that previously, but I would like to throw that question to the mayor and council. I would say my suggestion is, within 6 months after the meeting, we should have the closed session minutes completed.
Okay. I guess I don't think anyone on council would object to that. I think that would be prudent. In terms of disclosure to the public, it may not be permitted within that 6 months, depending on some of the subject matters. I think that they'd either have to be redacted or not produced if it's relating to ongoing litigation, for example. So is there anyone on council who would object to that timeline? Make it a target, even if it's not a hard and fast rule, but we can make it a target.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
That's okay.
A point of order regarding the minutes. I know that there were some changes made to the minutes, and for the most part, I really don't think it's an issue. But on the January 10th meeting, Mayor, you made some changes, but you weren't present in the closed session. So I don't know why I don't know if ultimately those changes were made to the minutes, but I don't think you can really make changes to the minutes if you weren't in the session.
Well, I think to be clear, I wasn't present for part of the meeting, and I recused myself, so I wasn't commenting as to that.
No, it says that you were absent in the closed session. Otherwise, I wouldn't even, and I don't necessarily take issue with your changes. I mean, they're just your opinions. but I don't think that the minutes of the clerk should be changed to reflect your opinion if you weren't even.
I don't have it in front of me in terms of my markup. I think you might be confusing something.
Am I confusing something, Lizette? Is
But
not-
anyway, if I wasn't there, I'm not commenting on it. So feel assured that I wouldn't.
Okay, so then your comments will not be made part of the minutes of
Well, it
January.
depends which one you're talking about. If I was there, my comment should be considered. If I wasn't there, then I wouldn't have had any comments. So I'm not voting on these anyway. So
Well, Lizette, are the changes that were made to the minutes that he was not present at the meeting, were they made or were they not made?
The changes that were made were a phrase or a statement that someone in closed session made, repeating the statement of the mayor's, and the mayor, I guess, corrected the statement. So no, he was not present at that meeting. He was correcting the statement that someone else said.
So may I make a motion to pass the minutes as originally written without any changes? That's my motion.
that's fine. You can make that motion. I'll just get back to the ones in terms of everything I marked up.
Matt, Councilman Aversa, the changes that the mayor made, aside from the January 10th, they really didn't change the context of all
Oh,
the
I thought you were
minutes.
just talking about the January 10th ones that
Okay, that's
he
fine.
wasn't there. I'm sorry.
Did you read the minutes, Ed?
Excuse me, Mario, you're echoing a little bit.
I'm sorry. I'm asking you whether or not you read the minutes.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. It's a bad echo.
You mean? I'm asking whether or not you read the minutes.
Yes, I read the minutes.
Oh,
But
great.
Mario, you're echoing, so it's kind of reverberating, and I'm not catching every word you're saying.
Okay,
I don't know if that's on my end or your end, but it's,
All right, we're going to vote on the minutes?
So was that a motion to approve all of them? January 10th?
yes.
All right, so
Second?
I second that motion.
Okay,
can we just add a little formality here? So Ed is making a motion and Gloria seconded
yes.
to approve the minutes of January 10th, 2019, January 15th, 2019, January 24th, 2019, and February 13th, 2019.
So
we have a motion, we have a second.
I'm trying to understand, so we're voting on changing the minutes of the meeting that you were not in attendance?
No,
we're voting on
not
whatever
those,
the
just all the
clerk
other ones.
So we're separating out that meeting from the others?
Correct.
Well, I'm not voting.
Yeah,
No.
Mario, the vote.
I understand that. There's a motion on the table. I'm asking for clarity.
Councilman Aversa, can we split them into the 4 separate minutes? Because 2 of the minutes, I will be voting differently from the other 2. So,
Sure. So why don't we do them one at a time then, or however you think, Bill, that's fine.
yeah, okay.
Call everyone's name and you just.
Lisette, you are muted.
Are you muted?
I'm muted because I'm sure.
I'll mute mine.
Yours?
I'll mute.
Okay, the mayor's gonna mute his.
It just so everybody who's listening, if we're both not muted, there's an echo. So I will.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Okay. You know what, and maybe lower? Okay. Councilperson Sparrow?
I wasn't there. I was not there in
Okay.
2019.
Abstain?
Lizette, which ones are we doing? Are we breaking them into spots like
Want
Councilman?
to break it?
Yeah, we're doing them in the order I have them printed in.
Okay.
Tell you what, I'll, okay. Abstain. So, Councilperson Sabari?
Lizette, say which one you're doing first, so we know.
Okay. January 10th.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Sabari, January 10th as originally presented?
Yes.
Okay. Oh,
Yes?
Song,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
Wu.
Yes.
Okay. Next one is January 15. Councilpersons Pharaoh,
Abstain?
Sabari,
Yes.
O,
Yes.
Sung,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
Wu.
Abstain for the purpose of clarifying my comments in the minutes. I will resolve that with you, Lizette,
Okay.
afterwards, and we can table any changes later.
January 24th, Councilpersons Pharaoh,
Abstain?
Sabari,
Yes.
O,
Yes.
Sung,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
Wu.
Abstain for the same reason as January 15th.
February 13th, Councilpersons Pharaoh,
Abstain?
Sabari,
Yes.
O,
Yes.
Sung,
Yes.
Aversa,
Yes.
Wu.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Point of order, Mayor.
Yeah.
I'd just like to read a resolution I want to add to the agenda for the purpose of, bridging some of this divide that we have on the council and addressing many of the email exchanges between yourself and various council members. Can I share the screen?
I'm not sure the borough attorney should opine on that. I don't think you can come up with a resolution that, at the last minute that hasn't been added to the agenda.
We've
I've been
this is not a
criticized.
unique situation.
Past.
This
What's
is
the
this,
unique
this,
situation?
this has been tabled before at the mayor council meetings, and on top of that, even today's agenda, we didn't get the final resolutions till very, very late in the afternoon.
But you had all caucus meeting to talk about it. What happened?
So can I read the resolution?
So you can make it, Councilman Wu, to clear any objections, you can make it into a motion.
I'll make a motion
I second that.
to
You
to
know what
table.
you're checking?
I second that motion.
You got to hear the motion first, Ramon.
You didn't even
Well,
hear-
I know. I
One
know.
at a time,
I'm
please.
gonna
I
make
just
a-
want to
I'm
give
gonna
him a
make-
chance
I'm
to
gonna
speak.
I'm gonna make a
I
motion.
I just want to give him a chance to speak.
Hold on. I'd like to make a
Doesn't
motion.
work like
Can I
that.
read it? I'm gonna read it now.
Yes,
Okay,
go
guys?
ahead. Everybody
I'm
else,
gonna read it.
one person at a time. Councilman Wu has the floor. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to authorize the investigation of Gloria O, Edward Aversa, Deborah Sabari, Jimmy Song, and Ellen Park relating to, just let me finish it, just relating to the borough's affordable housing litigations in regards to the Borough of Englewood Cliffs, BERL 611915 and 800 Sylvan versus the Borough of Englewood Cliffs, BERL 69-18 and A4019-17T2 and other related matters. Whereas since January 3rd through today, Gloria O, Edward Aversa, Deborah Sabari, and Jimmy Sung have controlled the Borough Council, whereas Ellen Park was a council member through December 31, 2019, whereas the facts addressed herein include Ellen Park only through December 31, 2019, whereas O, Aversa, Sabari, Sung, and E Park affirmatively and by their own admissions and as confirmed by borough councils have excluded Mayor Mario Kranjak and Councilman William Wu and Councilman Ramon Ferro in 2020 from communications provided to and received from the various borough attorneys in 2019 and 2020. Whereas O, Aversa, Sabari, Song, and E Park affirmatively and by their own admissions and confirmed by borough councils excluded Mayor Mario Kranjak and Councilman William Wu and Ramon Ferro in 2020 from participating in litigation strategy and
How long is
negotiations.
this resolution?
I'll be done in 30 seconds. In 2019 and 2020, whereas Mario Kranjak repeatedly demanded access to communications and participation in litigation strategy and negotiations in 2019 and 2020. Whereas O, Aversa, Sabari, Song, and E-Park secretly negotiated a memorandum of understanding and a draft settlement agreement with 800 Sylvan and Fair Share Housing Council in 2019. Whereas O, Aversa, Sabari, Song, and E-Park took an oath of office to uphold the laws of the United States of America and the state of New Jersey. Whereas in order to protect the interests of the borough and its residents, an investigation of O, Aversa, Sabari, Song, and E-Park is required. And whereas pursuant and consistent with NJSA 4860-5, the mayor recommends to the council such measures set forth herein as being necessary or expedient for the welfare of the borough and its residents. Now therefore be it resolved by the mayor and council of Englewood Cliffs, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, that the mayor be and hereby is authorized and empowered to retain special independent counsel having investigatory experience to investigate the actions and omissions of O, Aversa, Sabari, Song, and E-Park relating to the communications and litigation strategy. Also to provide the governing body with a report of his or her findings, and to take all necessary and appropriate legal actions, including but not limited to the payment of reasonable attorney fees to assert any of the borough's rights as outlined in the report.
Have a second?
I second that.
We have a vote?
You have totally lost it.
Yeah, I know. Billy, you got no guts, man.
I would
Good job, Billy. Good job, Mayor. Good job, Ramon.
I would caution the
You
council.
guys really,
Just caution you, Mario.
Despicable.
Did the mayor have anything to do with writing the resolution?
You could have the floor after me.
let's investigate the three of you.
Yeah.
Let's investigate everybody.
Let's look into the sunshine
Great
law.
job. Great job.
Okay, you guys can't get together and
Billy,
write
you
a
got no guts,
resolution.
Billy. Billy Puppet. That's your new name, Billy Puppet.
Thank
Way
you.
to go.
Thanks for calling me. that.
Unbelievable.
Appreciate it.
It's perfect. It works, man.
No.
I know you didn't write
What
that,
are you
Billy.
saying, Billy?
Yeah, Billy, when did you
Good
go to
job. Show your
Washington
face,
to
Billy.
draft a
Why don't you guys
resolution
vote
on
on
your
it?
own?
Why don't you guys vote on it right now?
Of course we're
Hold
gonna
on.
vote.
Shame on you, Billy.
I would caution that you guys are probably conflicted from voting.
Yeah,
Okay,
caution
great.
what?
Good luck with that.
Billy, great. Just laughable.
Yeah, you are a joke.
Seriously.
Well, let's-
Oh my God.
Oh my God, Mayor,
Take
I
the
can't
vote.
believe you got him to drink your Kool-Aid.
Wow.
Jesus.
Billy, you are dumber than you look, man. I can't believe it.
Stop naming.
Thank you, Ed.
Crazy.
Appreciate it
Let's
again.
take the vote.
Keep
Donis,
going.
Take the vote. Take the vote. It's ridiculous. Take the vote.
I suggest that you all recuse yourselves if you're
I
deciding.
suggest you mind your business and move on.
Mayor, I suggest that next time you don't draft a resolution for someone to read it, okay?
So I asked William to read that, and we coordinated
Of
it.
course you
Oh,
did.
that's great.
Coordinated. You mean you wrote it and the puppet read it?
Why didn't you ask Pharaoh to do it?
The damage that you all have done to this borough needs to be.
Oh, what
Yeah.
you've done to
Just
this
stop.
Pharaoh
It's
is
okay.
What's
Take
the
the vote. It's on
concern?
the
If there's
floor. Take
nothing,
the
if
vote.
there's no issues, what's the concern?
there
Take
is
the
no
vote.
Just
concern.
go forward with the investigation. It's not,
Take the vote.
Okay, they-
Let's make a motion to investigate everybody.
So,
and
by-
that's fine. That's fine, Jimmy. That's
Oh,
fine.
Listen.
back on, I've been asking.
Who said humor them and take the vote?
you
Take the
have
vote.
to give me any
Take the
communication.
vote.
Take the
Take
vote.
the vote.
Mute myself. Councilpersons Farrell,
Yes,
Sabari,
Absolutely not.
O,
No.
Sung,
No.
Aversa,
No.
Wu,
Yes.
Billy the puppet. Way to go, buddy.
So,
Let's
Ed,
spend more of the
really-
taxpayers' money on your
That's right.
non.
Mario, you're whining about legal
what I would,
fees,
what I would
and then you go and do that.
Stop it. Let's move on. This
All
is
right,
Move on.
let's
Go
let's
to
move on.
Go.
Let's
Next.
move on.
One person at a time. Are you
we're
finished?
moving on.
Okay, let me finish.
Let's-
No, let's move
You
on.
don't have
Move on,
anything to
please.
say.
You have to stop interrupting. Okay? NorthJersey.com loves writing articles about you interrupting. me.
Motion to approve resolution
So,
twenty
let me finish. Hold on
85.
a second.
Second.
I have the floor.
I second the motion.
There's a motion on the floor.
There's no motion on the floor.
There's a motion and a
There's a
second.
motion and a
What I actually
second.
wanted to do is finish.
No, we don't need to hear more speeches from you now,
No,
Mayor.
look, you have
This is borough
single-handedly.
business.
stopped-
No, hey, it's done, Mario. Get
No,
over
no,
it.
no, no, no. I want the public to
Yeah.
understand.
Motion on the floor.
Motion on the floor. and a
Motion on the
second. Take
floor.
vote, please.
There's
Let's
a
go.
motion on the floor and a second.
Motion on the floor.
Look, I
Put it on the floor in a second.
no. Listen,
Yes.
For the
if
public's
Eric can
benefit,
do it, we
you
can do it.
understand.
Motion on the floor in a second. No, she couldn't
Look,
mute him. There's a motion on the floor.
enough.
Please take the
You all
vote.
have to take turns speaking, okay? I
That's
have the
right.
floor
I
now.
made a motion.
No, you don't,
Like
Mario.
you have to
The
say
motion in a
everything.
second is a vote on the floor.
There's a
Eddie
vote
Versa, you
before.
must
You can
stop
speak back.
interrupting. You hide behind a screen. No one even sees.
We're not hiding behind anything.
Yeah,
There's a
you
Doesn't
are
matter,
hiding.
Mario.
Public
Take
gets
the,
to see us.
there's a motion in a second. Take the vote.
Take
What
the
I was
vote.
saying was that the public needs to
Take the vote,
understand
please.
that
Take the vote.
Mario,
Spread
Versa, and
propaganda.
Take the
Swan
vote, please,
Take the
Mario.
vote.
Run the meeting appropriately.
us to have access to the
Do that
attorney.
from your
representing
pulpit.
the
You
borough.
cannot play political games. This is the borough business, not you playing political games.
No,
No, you can't tell her to mute us.
I can because you're.
We're
being
not playing any
interrupted.
games. We just spent another 100,000
There
this
is a
month
And
motion.
you want to
legal
spend
fees.
more, Billy. The puppet's
and
got
another
you.
70,000 last month. This is
There's
the
a
only
motion
way
and a
for us
second.
to get this.
There's a
to-
motion and a second. Let's take the vote. Don't threaten her, Mario.
No, because you guys put her in this position, right? All you
No,
have to do
there's
is
a
let me
motion and a
speak.
second. Take the
No.
vote.
The public needs to understand that
No,
for the
that's
last
your-
year and a
no,
half,
That's
They
your.
understand you, Billy the puppet tried to make something pass. It didn't pass, so move on.
no. But the public needs to understand that we are still not receiving the information that we are entitled to from our own attorneys that you control.
That's not
Okay.
true. You got
Yeah,
the-
another
That's a lie, Mario.
hundred,
You know.
another
Take the
$100,000
vote. Take the
in
vote.
bills.
That's why.
Another $100,000 in
Take the
bills
vote.
this month.
You know, you just want to start new litigations, new money that the taxpayer is going to pay for nonsense. None of us have done
Well,
anything
listen,
wrong.
you should be
You're
comfortable with what you did, and you clearly aren't comfortable with it, right?
No,
You
Clearly.
violated a
comfortable about
voting
it.
ethics.
I've done nothing wrong.
You voted to not have an investigation of yourself, so that's
right. Take the
nonsense
vote.
you guys are doing, right? So
We've
what
already
I
taken
had
that vote.
also
There's a motion
prepared was
and
a
a second.
proclamation.
There's a motion and a
regarding
second.
law-
A
regarding our
proclamation?
police
You
department.
got proclamation.
That's
Says
not on the
the king.
agenda. It's a
So it
motion.
doesn't
and a
have to
second.
be, and
There's a motion and a
here's the
second.
proclamation.
a
Whereas for
motion.
generations,
Oh, here we go.
Oh, come on, Mario. Stop it.
Wow.
well, maybe you'll want to join
Fight
me in this.
politics.
Maybe you'll want to join me in this.
Can we please deal
Let
with
me
our
finish.
business?
Listen, you have to mute them.
No, you don't have to mute us.
No, you
You have
don't.
to stop.
No, under New Jersey law, I
Okay,
control the
let's make
meeting.
a
Not a
motion.
bunch of-
Okay, are you-
Robert Rules of
yeah.
Order. There's a motion on the floor.
No, I
And
was
a second.
speaking.
Let's go.
You interrupted me, Jimmy.
There's a motion on the floor.
There's a motion on the floor. You're interrupting everyone.
I am directing the clerk to mute you until I finish.
No,
You
there's a
can't,
motion.
you can't
I'm
direct
directing
it.
it. Whether or not she does it is up to her. But she knows that under New Jersey law, I get the gavel and I get to stop out of control
You
council.
get a gavel. You're acting like a maniac.
You're the king of law and order? Is that it?
Okay, good. All right. So Lizette's not doing her job either. Let me finish my proclamation. Whereas for generations,
Take the
law
vote, Mario, and then
enforcement-
you can read the proclamation. Take the
Let me
vote,
finish.
Motion
I
and
had
then.
the floor, guys. You keep interrupting me, and I will
take
not
the
stand
vote,
down.
and then you can read your
No,
I will
proclamation
not
if the
stand
council
down,
allows it.
vice versa. You lost an election, and you're still sorry
That
about it.
doesn't bother me. I don't know why you keep whining about that.
Just let him read the proclamation. Come on.
There's a-
Follow
let's
the
take
rules, Billy.
Let's take the vote. There's a motion and a
Just because
second.
your puppet master wants to do it doesn't mean it's okay.
I had
That's
the
how
floor.
many times
That's
have
how it
you
works.
used the word puppet master, Ed? Appreciate
That
that.
That was the
Keep
first
going.
puppet master I used.
Keep
I told
going,
you the
Ed.
puppet.
Keep going.
Your motion.
No, I want to read it without interruption.
Well, after you take the
No,
vote,
let
maybe
me
you can.
finish. I had the floor, Ed, and that's.
No,
what-
you didn't have the
I
floor,
had the
Mario.
floor.
That's not true. That's
There's
I
not
a
don't
happening.
know where you are, but whatever you're drinking must be really good because
There's
you're
a
making no
motion and a
sense.
You know, it's the second time you accuse me of drinking,
All right,
Mario. You better watch it, brother. That's the second time tonight.
I'll read it. Whereas
warning
for
you.
generations, the law enforcement
That's the
officer,
second time you did that.
I will keep going back and starting over, Ed, every time you
A
interrupt.
motion to adjourn.
Whereas for generations, the law enforcement officers of Englewood Cliffs, Bergen County, and the state of New Jersey have answered the call to serve and protect our communities. Our law enforcement officers embody the courage and honor that represent the best of Englewood Cliffs, Bergen County, and the state of New Jersey. And whereas in moments of danger and desperation, the first people we turn to are law enforcement officers. These often unsung heroes risk their lives so we can live in peace and security. And whereas we owe dutiful respect and humble gratitude to the law enforcement officers of Englewood Cliffs, Bergen County, and the state of New Jersey, who work tirelessly to protect us, to maintain and defend civil order in our community. Now, therefore, I, Mario M. Kranjak, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of Englewood Cliffs, New Jersey, do hereby express sincere gratitude to law enforcement officers who wear the badge and are selfless civil servants, putting themselves in harm's way to keep us safe, and ask that all citizens join me in giving these dedicated professionals the support and appreciation they deserve. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand and cause the official seal of the Borough of Englewood Cliffs to be affixed this 10th day of June 2020. Thank you for letting me read that. If you care to join in that proclamation with me, I'm happy to
I
have you.
think it's great that you finally recognize our police department and give them gratitude. We've been giving them gratitude for decades, but thank you for finally recognizing them publicly.
Well, here's the thing, right, Deb? And it's always nice to hear you chime in, but you never actually explain everything. We are actually coming up on the 1-year anniversary of a new police chief. And I am very pleased to report that after 1 year of having Chief Henkelman in charge of the Englewood Cliffs Police Department, the department has had its integrity and professionalism restored. It has had its relationship with the governing body restored.
It was always there.
And we are seeing the last vestiges of being politically beholden to the machine that once governed this town.
I appreciate that, Mario. I really do. I appreciate that because I know I led that charge and I appreciate
Happy to
that.
have you join in with me, and we'll all sign it together.
That would be very nice.
And you're in? Councilwoman O, are you in? Councilman?
Yes, I'm here, Mayor, yes.
Councilman Aversa, are you in?
I appreciate you allowing me to lead the charge in hiring the new chief and doing that whole research and process, which wasn't done in the past. I really do, Mario. I'm with you on this one.
Councilman Song?
Yes.
Councilman Farrell?
Yes.
Councilman Wu?
Yes.
It's unanimous. We'll circulate, sign it, and present it to the chief and the Englewood Cliffs Police Department.
Okay, so now can we vote on the motion? Motion to
Please.
approve resolution 20-85, claims.
No, we have to open.
We haven't had public comments yet.
Debbie, there's a
Okay,
document.
you're correct, Mayor.
Yeah,
You're correct.
there's documents and agenda. We're going to follow the agenda. Can I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the virtual
Aye.
setting is a little difficult. So if there's anyone from the public who wishes to be heard, signal to us by raising your hand, thumbs up, wave your hand, maybe we'll see it. If you're called, and when you're called, you'll be unmuted. Just state your name and address, please, and just tell us what you want to say. Yes. Mrs. O'Shea?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I have a few things that I'd like to bring to attention of the mayor and council.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just need your name and address.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mary O'Shea, 12 Irving Avenue, Englewood Cliffs. Last month, it was brought up that the clerk, Lizette Duffy, who was in charge of filling Oprah requests, is a defendant in 6 of the lawsuits listed on tonight's agenda, had omitted her own name. Tonight, her name is missing again. Also, defendant Michael Chiaffi, who was listed on the agenda last month in item number 7, has been admitted tonight. Also, is that favorable treatment for one of your favorite police chiefs?
Are you asking me or the clerk?
I'm asking the clerk.
Okay, because you know how I feel.
What is the question?
The question are you playing favorites?
I'm not playing favorites. I follow the law.
Okay, the clerk says she's not playing favorites and that she's following the law. I don't know if you heard her.
I did. But the answer is that his name was on there last month as a defendant on number 7, and this month he was left off, as she was left off. And I want to know why this disparaging and differential treatment is listed on the way the agenda is listed. Okay? Also, last month there was a question as to why the items had been why items that had been ruled against the borough were listed. And the answer that Mr. Marinello gave was that they were being appealed. The question was, who authorized the expenditure of taxpayer funds to appeal a fine against the clerk, which was noted by the judge not to be paid by taxpayer funds? Again, when was that voted on?
I don't believe there was a vote.
There was not, but there was money. Every time you do something for one of the lawyers, you have to vote on it in a public session, and that was never voted on. Correct?
Asking Borough Council or the clerk.
Anybody?
My recollection is that it was not voted on, it was not approved, but there was, I believe, guidance offered to the borough attorney.
Okay.
Jason, do you want to?
Keep
Yeah,
asking.
I'd have to check with Mr. Marinello. I don't have the answer on hand.
Okay, we'll ask it every month. I'll ask it every month until we get an answer. The answer from Mr. Marinello at the time was that it was being appealed. Now, it also should be noted that Mr. Marinello reviews and approves Oprah requests and responses, and basically bills for the same for that review, and is billing to go to court and to lose in court. And now he's going to increase his fees further by billing for the appeal. So he's appealing on behalf of the clerk, which is really appealing his own work, or your work, Jason, or whoever did it, by appealing. And he approves those redactions and deletions and not filling them. All right, now it's very self-enhancing by doing this, appealing his own fees with his own fees. And we should not be paying for the clerk's defense. Whatever her fine was by the court should be paid by the clerk. And we should not be incurring further legal fees to appeal a fee that she's responsible for by paying her attorney. And him being the one that gives advice to the clerk, he shouldn't be charging for defending her. He should do it pro bono for her because he's the one who told her to respond that way. Now, another question that I have. When did the borough start closing municipal offices on Friday?
So we did that about a month and a half or 2 months ago during the coronavirus uptick in town, as a way to protect our employees and visitors. On Fridays, we basically deemed that the day where the buildings are all disinfected thoroughly to provide for a safer work environment, and also on the guidance that 3 days of no activity would better the likelihood of having no virus present on any symptoms and something else.
Oh, that was...
They're working from home, and there's a phone number where you could call. I think we're trying obviously to get back to normal. And that's a good question. But,
well, I have a comment about that because there's nothing on the borough website that says the offices are closed on Friday. So you're talking we've been closed for 6 or 8 weeks on Fridays, Mayor?
4 Fridays.
It's been closed for 4 Fridays.
4 Fridays? Okay. All right. And are the employees having 1 day's salary deducted from the office being closed?
No, they're all working from home like pretty much the rest of the country was.
Okay, so if they're working from home, basically they're doing borough business on those Fridays from home, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, if there
I'll say that's correct, except that there are no confidential or sensitive documents being taken out of Borough Hall. Or there shouldn't be.
Well, the reason I became aware of this, I had put in an Oprah request and on a Thursday. And when I expected to get the Oprah request back, I was advised by the clerk that it wouldn't be due for a few more days because they were closed on Fridays. So if they were closed on Fridays, it's not a holiday, okay? And those days should have counted toward the 7 days in filling the Oprah request. And it's not like that was anything that had to be done that Friday. The request was submitted during the day on Thursday. And then I was advised that they were closed on Friday, then they were closed on Monday was a holiday, so then they only had a couple of days, and then there was another Friday closed. So if you're working from home, those days should have counted in the 7 days and not have extended the time period further because the office was closed.
Yeah, so I don't know if any executive orders of the governor told the time frame for doing that. The clerk is saying it's 21 days if needed.
But it wasn't asked if I wanted to extend it. I wasn't asked. I was supposed to be.
I wasn't aware of it. I wasn't involved. But I just think that a lot of, and I'll have to double check this because I don't know, but maybe Jason does, about attorney. I don't know if the executive orders of the governor told any of that time frame.
I don't think he knew you were closed. Okay.
Can't we all just give everybody a little bit of, time here? I mean, we are in the middle of the coronavirus. I mean, the offices are closed. She doesn't have access to the documents. I mean, what
I asked for, Mrs. Sparry, was that a copy of the tape from last month's meeting, which she would get when she was in the office. So it wasn't anything that she could do at home. Therefore, she could have done it when she was back in the office. She didn't need to extend the time period. What I'm saying is the day out of the office is a work day. It counts as part of the 7 days. That's what I'm trying to get at.
No, I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying, couldn't you give a little leniency here? I mean, or are you going to hire an attorney to go after the borough because it's a couple of days late? That's all I'm saying. I mean, we have to work with each other here. This is costing the town a fortune. The same attorney is handling all of the Oprah cases.
Well, it wouldn't happen, Debbie, if the documents were given to us or given when they were asked for, instead of having to go to court and get involved.
There's just an overabundance.
Not by me, Debbie, not by me. Okay, so that's not a valid argument to me.
You're just one person. You're just one person.
I know.
I'm not blaming you personally.
The public is, it's well within their rights to request under Oprah.
I understand that, Mayor. I'm just asking for, a little time here. We're all trying to deal with working remotely and getting things done.
Now, I also want to know why the May Zoom meeting was not posted on the borough website. I made an Oprah, which is the Oprah that I'm discussing. I paid for a copy. I got it. I looked at it. It's fine. And I want to know why it has not been posted on the website.
I don't know. I'll defer.
Okay. Can I answer all of Mrs.?
You can unmute. Mrs. O'Shea, the information you requested was provided to our borough attorney. I believe you asked for logs that he needed to provide, his email logs, correct?
I wasn't talking about that. I was just, what I was talking.
Mrs. O'Shea, if I may, I'd like to respond to all your questions regarding your Oprah.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So you presented an Oprah to my office on Thursday.
Yes.
Okay. That Oprah was forwarded to the appropriate attorney that would handle the logs, and that was Mr. Marinello. I leave that with him to provide, review, redact if necessary, and then forward it to me. That was number one. I had to wait for the log to be provided after review. Number two, as far as the Zoom was concerned, you know, this is all very new to us. I am not a professional as far as working on Zoom. I have taught myself how to do Zoom, how to record, how to re-record, and
You
provide
play
the information
basketball
you
all
need.
this time? Oh my God, Steve was probably.
I'm sorry, I could hear something in the background.
Steve was probably like. Oh, really?
I had trouble
L'Oreal.
with the Zoom. In fact, I even asked one of the attorneys if
This
he
looks so
was
good.
aware as to how to re-record and provide audio, and he did not. I had to Google, I had to search the internet as to how to provide the Zoom tape to you. Your Oprah was 1 day late. 1 day. As soon as you emailed me, I made sure I contacted Mr. Marinello on my own time, which was in the evening, and I said, please get me the log so I can provide it to Mrs. O'Shea. You had all your information by Monday, June 1st, instead of Thursday, May 28th. Now, under the GRC, all clerks were instructed that if needed due to COVID, an extension of 21 days can be taken. I saw no need for 21 days. I didn't think an extra day or perhaps 2 would be a problem. But again, like Mrs. Sabari said, are you gonna sue? Probably. I'll probably get something next week.
Finish?
I'm finished, thank
Is
you.
there anyone else that has any questions, comments?
One other comment I have, that tonight, the resolutions for the items on the agenda were not posted at 6:15 when I kept refreshing my computer. And they were posted a few minutes later than that. They did come up. But that makes it very difficult to try to read everything before you start the meeting. And I would ask that, especially with Zoom, as the clerk has problems with Zoom, as members of the audience, I'm not familiar with Zoom either. And every time I try to use it, I end up with issues. So I would like to have a little time to read the resolutions. That's all.
Well, there's no difference than when you come to a meeting at 6:30 and the packet is provided at 6:30.
Well, it would be nice if you have them, you could put it out a few minutes early instead of,
Actually, at 6:15, I was here.
you know, that working.
So that packet was provided on the internet, on the website, prior to 6 o'clock.
No, it wasn't, because I kept
Okay.
refreshing it and it wasn't there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to be heard? Okay, seeing and hearing no one. Yes, Mr. Perino, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Russell Perino.
I didn't see you raise your hand.
That's okay. I tried
It's
doing it
good.
the official way, but
Okay.
okay. Russell Perino, 220 Fairview Avenue. Good evening. I missed the caucus meeting. I did receive a phone call that once again, one or more council persons attacked the planning board as the cause of our affordable housing problems. Mayor, is that true?
Correct. Mr. Aversa, Ms.
Mr.
Sabari.
Mayor, I'm going to advise you not to speak on anything that was discussed during closed session.
I believe it was done during the public.
It was done during the budget discussion. Yeah,
Very good.
That's what I was told.
yeah, no, it's fine.
Things. With regard to the planning board budget, we have an increased amount of legal fees as they relate to the affordable housing litigations, that's plural. We were not involved in any great way in the litigation expenses up until recently. And the reason why we are now involved in it is because of the judge's orders and the planning board's involvement with the builder's remedy suit, an application by Andrew Sylvan that will be heard in, I believe it's September, middle of September, that hearing will start. So that process has brought the planning board in front and center. Although we're not going to be hearing the application per se, we will be appearing on behalf of the borough, representing the borough's interests at those hearings. So I wanted to be clear that if our housing plan had been held and continued in a path that it was planned back before Democratic majority took office or took control, we would not have, in my estimation, the builder's remedy suit that we're facing now and the expenses that have been continuing. Even the special master's report after the trial in January suggested that the borough should have the right to amend our plan of 77 units, as is typically the case in other affordable housing communities, let's say. So the fact that we lost our immunity as a result of the MOU and the 180-degree turn by the Democratic majority last year has put us where we are today. So I try to be a diplomat, and I try not to speak against those that are volunteers to the community. But when they come back and start making the same statements that they've been making for the past 3 years, even though they've made those statements back in November, and the residents obviously did not believe it then, they're not going to believe it now. So why go there again? You know it's not true. You know the planning did what was right. You know the facts by now, and you should just stop. So Councilman Aversa and Sabari, I'm assuming it was the two of you that were speaking again about the planning board. Shame on you. Shame on you. You shame the town. You shame yourselves when you condemn the planning board. You know that. You tend to do it anyway. I say good riddance. We won't see you in December. We don't see you tonight. And I'd like to ask you, why do you refuse to let yourselves be seen by video? I'd like to hear from each of the three council persons that feel they are either it's not necessary to show their faces. Are you hiding? Is there a reason why you don't? Is there a premeditated reason? Please to share it with me.
That would
Councilman
be
Aversa.
Sabari, Councilman Aversa.
Mr. Perino, I think you've been talking to the mayor too much about us not being live on Zoom. There's nothing to
brought it up
hide.
first, actually. I brought it up in the first Zoom meeting 2 months ago. Sorry, Councilman. I don't know if you were there or not.
Okay, Mr. Perino, we don't have to participate, with our, being live on this Zoom. Like, it's our choice. And I think you're reading into it too much. We're not hiding.
Councilwoman O, you are an elected council member, not a stalker. So right now you're looking at us, but we can't see you and what you're doing.
Mr. Mayor, I'm not stalking anybody, okay? I have not been to, my hairdresser. I have a lot of gray hair coming out.
But neither have I.
Gray. It's my personal choice. I don't see why you're looking into this too much. I have nothing to hide except for my gray hair, okay?
Look, I just think it's a matter of decorum for the public to be able to see their elected officials and not be speaking to a sound wall.
And that was my point 2 months ago, and I'll keep repeating it. It's your choice. I don't say that you're breaking the law, but it just doesn't, it looks like it's a political maneuver for whatever reason I can't figure out, but it seems political because, and thank you, Mr. Song, Councilman Song, for appearing. It's great.
Well, I do not have gray hair. So.
No, it doesn't, listen, none of us look.
What's Councilman Aversa's excuse then?
It's silly, but it seems like it's a concerted effort on the Democratic side, and I just don't get it. So I'll keep bringing attention to it. You keep on being invisible, so be it. Nothing I can do about it, but I think it's important. Just as the comments that were made this evening about William Wu introducing a resolution, right? I was present for the meetings when you decided to censor the mayor for things that happened in closed session, right, on several occasions. And the reaction of the Republican council persons, even the mayor, they had words to say, but they didn't call Billy the puppet, no guts William, dumber than you look, puppet, read it. I think those are comments I heard mostly from Councilman Aversa. Unprofessional. You're a professional. You're an MD. You should speak better than you speak, Mr. Aversa. You have no right to condemn Councilman Wu or anybody else. He has the right to do it. You don't have to agree with it. Don't call names like a teenager, like a child. I have nothing else to say. Thank you.
Well said.
Appreciate that, Russ. I can take a hit.
Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to be heard? Mrs. McMorrow? Mrs. McMorrow, you're on mute.
Did I take it off now? I'm not sure.
Yes, we hear you. Please state your name and address.
Okay, thank you. Carol McMorrow, 489 Summit Street, Englewood Cliffs. I just have two questions. One is regarding in some of the Oprah requests that I put in. And by the way, Ms. Sabari, I've granted every extension that's been asked of me by the borough. I've been beyond reasonable on every Oprah request, and I think we all know what's going on, and the courts have been deciding, and the outcomes of the cases speak for themselves. So I think your comments to Ms. O'Shea in trying to minimize her questions were misplaced. As for closed session meeting minutes, it's unacceptable that a year and a half later there is still no access to closed session meeting minutes. I'm not going to say anything else on that. What I wanted to ask the borough attorney, I will direct it to him. I'm not going to ask the mayor because I know he does rent from Mr. Shapisi's building, so I don't want to ask him that question. Mr. Benica, if you would be kind enough to just, if you can, and obviously if it's a subject that you can't talk about, I understand that. On some of the responses for documents provided under Oprah, I have seen discussions with Mr. Shapisi's office, with Mr. Marinello's office, and I see Mr. Wunsch, I do see Mr. Martin. And I'm just wondering, since Mr. Shapisi had worked on the 800 Sylvan matter, if he's now in discussions on anything having to do with affordable housing for another client, how does that affect our position as a borough? Since that would also, he has knowledge of what went on with 800 Sylvan, he now, if he's working for the other client, which I believe from Oprah's that I've read, or sorry, the responses I've read, that he may be working for another client now. How does that affect the borough's, the borough? That's my question. I don't even know if Councilman Wu is aware of it, or Councilman Farrow, or the mayor. Are you aware that Mr. Shapisi is involved in these discussions? Are you on these emails?
Not on the emails, but I did find out that he was representing two parties before the...
Okay, well, there are many, many emails going back and forth between Mr. Wunsch and all these other individuals.
Yeah, but that's actually, you're touching on another subject, which is that the council members who are majority here have instructed the attorneys to not share those emails, information, anything else with Councilman Farrow, Wu, or myself.
Right, well, I do believe, well, as I said, and again, you know, Mr. Sabari can defend this all she wants. I believe there are reasons for the delays in all the production of all these documents. And this has been going on way before COVID-19. And as I said, I've granted every single extension that was asked of me. But Mr. Benica, if you could answer that question.
So, Mrs. McMorrow, I apologize for cutting you off if I did.
No,
the short answer is, to be perfectly honest with you, I don't even know who Mr. Shapisi is. I don't have any dealings with the affordable housing case. You would have to talk to Mr. Marinello. As far as, you know, most of what I do, a lot of it is just handling the actual review of the documents that I receive dealing with Oprah's. providing legal advice in certain instances to Mrs. Duffy. A lot of the stuff I'm handling is really just between me and Joe. And
Yeah, that's okay. I appreciate that. Then you know what? I can leave that to Councilman Farrow, Councilman Wu, and Mayor Kranjak to know that that there are many conversations. And it caught my eye when I saw Mr. Shapisi's office's representation of what appears to be another client with the special master. Which it's a very interesting situation here. And, he was deeply involved in the 800 Sylvan representation. We all know that. I know it because obviously I was the liaison for when they were trying to, when we had our meetings, private meetings. When I say that, I mean mediation meetings. So I don't know. As council people and mayor, I'll let you look into that and what is that situation.
So that was part of actually the investigation that Councilman Wu was asking for, and the council majority voted, although they should not have voted because it concerned them, and they certainly didn't have a conflict voting on anything like that. So we'll see where that ends up.
Well, the situation that I can't understand, Mr. Mayor or Mr. Benica, I mean, Ellen Park taught us very well. I mean, that's the first person that taught us what your rights were to get documents. So I just cannot understand how Councilman Wu, the mayor, and Councilman Farrow are not getting emails. I mean, if the emails are there, they just have to be turned over to them.
Right.
Unredacted. I don't know. There's court orders on that already.
Right, but there's two sets of rules, right? There's two sets of rules. One for us, one for them. Two
That's
sets
not
of rules.
true, Mayor.
Well, I'm not gonna comment, Mayor, on that. I'm not gonna.
That's really
give them enough credit that if
Debbie, you can pretend that you're cooperative, but you're not, because you had the ability to.
I'm not pretending, Mayor.
Oh, you are. You're a pretender. You say whatever is expedient. At the end of the day, you don't actually do the right thing.
Other people are being accusatory. And the bottom line is that there is nothing there. You'd like to believe there is. You're getting the same documents that I get.
No, I'm not actually. No, I'm not actually. Because you actually told the attorneys not to give us documents.
That is
and
not.
Foolishly, they put their licenses on the line and listened to you.
That is
whatever
not.
you promised was better than just doing the
not
rule of
true,
law
Mayor.
thing, right?
Once again, you're lying once again.
No, not really. You could call me liar. You could call me names. But at the end of the day,
No,
I believe in the rule of law.
It's the
I believe
reality.
in honesty. I believe in directness. And I know you don't believe in any of those.
Okay,
That's why you
Mayor.
get upset all the time.
I'm not upset.
Well, you're calling me names.
These are the facts.
No, those aren't facts. Those are
May
feelings.
I don't want to, if I may, I'm just trying to be helpful on the affordable housing aspect.
Well, you could let every other council member know also, Carol, not just the Republicans, because none of the other council members are aware of the documents that you're speaking of.
He's telling you right now.
Sorry, I'm saying this for the first time right now. I'm telling all of you.
But you specifically said that Billy and Ramon and the mayor should look into it, and you left out all the Democratic council members. We are not familiar with any emails.
Okay, if you would let me finish and not attack me, you have a habit of doing that to anyone that asks a question that, I don't know why you're getting defensive. I asked to help the borough. You are the borough. I know you might not understand what I'm saying, but if I reference to help the borough, you're the board of directors for the borough. So I'm sorry if you didn't understand my statement, but if I say for the borough, that includes you, Ms. Sabari. So
I would hope so, but
I'm stating it again, and you misunderstood what
No,
my
I didn't
statement was. So I am saying it again.
Okay, you can go
All
on.
of you-
You can go on.
all of you should look into that and look into the emails, whatever the conversations are, and find out how that might affect the borough. That's it. I thought that
Thank
was
you.
a helpful
Thank you.
statement.
That is how it should have been said the first time, but thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Is there anyone else who wishes to be heard? Mr. Mehta?
Yes, Heman Mehta, 75 Roberts Road. I just heard Ms. McMorrow referring to some other, I guess, opera documents which she saw. And from what I understood, she's stating that Mr. Shapizi, who was actually instrumental in the 800 Sylvan, now is looking further into for other clients. So first of all, I wanted to thank the council and everybody for having spent $3.5 million of the borough and making sure we lose basically to 800 Sylvan. So now are we going to go on another episode of another $3 or $4 million to lose to another developer over here? And again, we're gonna hear the same stories that you, the mayor, are not getting documents. These council members are holding the documents. And since the attorneys, they get paid by these, the majority of the council members, they're only going to listen to them. Is that, and the judge comes back and says, hey, you guys, you're the bad guys. You haven't done anything for 40 years. I mean, I'm just wondering, how is the citizen responsible for that?
Well, Mr. Mehta, you raise a really good point, because history does predict the future with this council majority. I've asked to replace all attorneys, but failing that, I've asked that we just have one on the affordable housing matter who actually takes direction from the governing body and not just the council majority that we have. I'll give you an example of how we waste money. Looking at Mr. Wunsch's May bills, on May 7th, he set a Guinness Book of World Records time entries. He had 49 time entries for 16.1 hours. And then on May 8th, I guess he ran out of time, but he still had 38 time entries, but for 0.1 hour more, so 16.2 hours for opening and reviewing emails that were not even sent to him as the main recipient, but as copied for the most part. So when I asked to replace them all, I get pushback. But it's clear that any lawyer, any attorney on this Zoom right now realizes that they've never seen a timesheet with 49 entries for one day for the same client. I've been practicing law 30 years, and it's astounding to see that somebody would do something like that, and that these people will continue to employ that person and bring them back for more and more and more. So yes, sir, history is predicting the future. We either have a very incompetent council majority or a very corrupt council majority. I'm not sure which it is yet, but that's why I wanted the investigation, which they, of course, voted down.
Oh, I wasn't, means it must have happened prior to me, this investigation, whatever you're referring to.
No, we voted on it tonight, actually, and they voted it down. I want to investigate them for the waste.
Mayor, it's not a back and forth. Could you let the public finish?
I think under New Jersey law, I chair this meeting, Ms. Sabari, and you may not like it.
To accomplish.
You can have the floor and defend yourself. So please go ahead. Have the
Can I ask one question? Mr. Serenian is really the affordable housing litigator?
No, he's the affordable housing attorney.
Housing attorney?
The litigator is Tom Troutner from Kia.
Yes, I was about to say Mr. Troutner is the litigator.
That's
What's the role for Mr. Albert Wunsch or Marianello in this whole scenario?
Well, it's to break Guinness Book of World Records for how many time entries you could have.
Actually can't talk about this, Mayor. Once again.
No, that's not privileged. 49 time entries in one day. That's not privileged.
Mr. Wunsch explained to you that he was intricately involved with.
He was not. I was reading his time.
Here's my question. It's not about month of May. My question is, what's Mr. Albert Wunsch's role in this entire litigation? From what I see, he has no background in affordable housing. So what is he really managing here? And what is he doing in the court or in the papers? I haven't seen any papers from him.
I guess
except one or two.
So that's a good question too, Mr. Mehta. So I guess like in many states, What you call that is political payback. He's the guy that gets hired to do
Mario,
nothing.
watch yourself. Watch.
Political payback. That is
No,
political
that's
payback.
It's
It's not slander.
No.
You
There's
guys hired him as your political.
You see, this is what you do. You lie to the residents.
No, it's the truth.
Mr. Mehta, we should have settled back in
He
July.
literally assaulted me in closed session, and you stood by. He's your
Mayor
bulldog.
lied to you and all the other residents, leading you to believe that you could win the affordable housing. And look where we are. Everything that the
Not the
attorney
way you're
told you
fighting,
had to
but
do-
the way I fight, we
Let
could
me
win.
finish, Mario. Okay, you want to attack me? Let me defend myself. What the attorneys told you is exactly what happened. And you know what? We're going to continue fighting, and we have no choice now. But the fact is, we should have settled because every other town has settled, and they're not facing the same nonsense that we're facing. The court has taken over our town. Do you realize that?
Right. You know why? We called 2 witnesses at trial.
No. You know why? Because we didn't settle. We should have lived up to our affordable housing obligations. We had no choice, just like the other 320 towns have.
Councilman,
You're above
sorry.
affordable housing.
What you're forgetting to tell the
I have one question while you guys are
Let me just add
arguing.
one thing, Mr. Mehta. What Councilwoman Sabari is forgetting or neglecting to tell the public is that when
That
she
you
came
lied to
into office in January 2019, there was a plan that the court
No, it was an
actively
insufficient
approving.
plan, and you
Let
knew
us-
that.
No, I have
Can
to
I-
say
You
now.
knew that.
They were letting us use the trust money to develop our own 100% affordable housing plan on Hudson Terrace.
You know,
The Bari came in and said,
You
no,
know
we know
for a
better than everyone. We're going to
Mary
settle.
Beth Lonigan said that that plan was insufficient, which is why we are
But
where
you
we
get a
are.